But my passion, and then I tell people that I was destined to be who I am and doing something technical.
Okay.
So my program was tailor-made around construction. And I was attached to a developer in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And that's where really was something that really inspired me.
Okay.
So when I came back home, I thought, yes, if this guy could do it in Las Vegas, how can I tailor-make this thing in the Gambia? Because, Africa Global has a big vision to develop 1 million affordable homes across the continent of Africa.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis, or Joe Hatagwa from Authentic African, and I'm excited to do an interview with the man himself, Mr. Mustapha Njie, the CEO and Managing Director of TAF Africa Global. All right, Mr. Mustapha Njie has spent 34 years running his own business in housing and real estate in Africa. He's passionate about expanding his business in sub-Saharan African countries while sharing his experience with other professionals. He started the company with nothing and built it to a multi-million-dollar company recognized as Gambian Businessman of the Year, 1993, 2004, and 2006, so 3 times. He's also been Gambian Man of the Year, 2006, 1998, European Council of Global Business for Quality and Excellence, 2004 Best SMME in Construction in Africa, and 2010 ECOWAS Honorable Businessman. And so with that intro, I'd like to first of all thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so excited to do this because, first of all, a friend of mine is purchasing some property here, number one. Number two, people have been asking me about TAF Salone. It's come up a lot. I think you guys have done a great job building the brand on social media, especially on YouTube. And anybody who's doing research about real estate in Sierra Leone come across what you guys are doing here. So I'm excited for us to have this conversation.
Well, thank you.
So before we kind of get into the business of TAF Salone and what's here, I'd love to kind of get a little bit more about your background. So I'd like to start from the beginning. Where were you born and raised?
Gambian by birth, 68 years ago.
Okay.
And that was in 1957. And I was raised in the Gambia. I was also trained in the Gambia. I went to school there. Everything that I have known, who I have been, has been in the Gambia.
Okay.
When I tell my fellow Gambians that I am a made in the Gambia product.
Right. And I see that you've won many awards throughout the years. What got you into construction in the first place?
Well, my passion, and then I tell people that I was destined to be who I am and doing something technical.
Okay.
I mean, at school, I graduated from high school in 1975. That's 50 years ago.
Sure.
And what was very unique about me, immediately I graduated and then I started teaching in the same school. So I didn't have a break as such. I mean, after having graduated, then I got employed as a junior teacher in the same high school teaching woodwork because I was very, very, very passionate about woodwork, carpentry, and somehow very much gifted in it. And that's where my background in construction started.
Okay. So you've been doing this for over 40 years. What ended up bringing you here to Sierra Leone?
Well, first, my working career started in 1975 all the way to 1990. And this is key, especially for the young ones. I did my apprenticeship.
Yeah.
For 15 good years working for others. And it's important because every error I have had in learning the trade was done whilst working for others.
Right.
So then I started my business in 1990, which is 35 years ago. I started with just basic construction, like all the contractors you see on site.
Right.
Taking contract and working for individuals and also for governments and so on. But I also went to the US in 1992 on a program called EI. EI was called Entrepreneur International. And basically what the American government was doing was looking at young entrepreneurs from Africa. I guess it was from the third world, specifically for me from Africa, exposing you to the way business is being done in the US.
Interesting. Okay.
So my program was tailor-made around construction. And I was attached to a developer in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And that's where really was something that really inspired me.
Okay.
So when I came back home, I thought, yes, if this guy could do it in Las Vegas, how can I tailor-make this thing in the Gambia?
Sure.
So I started then, doing development, small time, but again, targeting diasporans, Gambians living in the diaspora.
Sure.
Because I identified a niche for it. I knew that, look, there was a need. Gambians were always trying to build at home, and the story is the same everywhere. So that's how my background in real estate development and then moving on to mass housing started.
Okay. So you get the inspiration from Las Vegas. You realize that there is a diaspora contingent that would need to have houses built of a certain quality and standard in the Gambia. So you started with the Gambia, and how did you expand outside of the Gambia beyond those countries' borders?
Way back again in 1993, I was a part of a young network of West African young people.
Okay.
And it was called the West African Enterprise Network.
Okay.
So I started networking with my fellow entrepreneurs of the same age group. And that really made me travel outside of my comfort zone, which was the Gambia.
Okay.
So I started seeing other countries and the things that were happening there. But at a very early stage of my business career, I realized that in Gambia, the population was small. And obviously, for every businessman, you want to grow big, you want to expand. So after realizing that, look, if I want to expand really for what I'm doing, I need to start looking beyond the borders of the Gambia. Sure. So first step was Senegal.
Okay.
Then I went to Mali, and then I started just moving from one country to the other. But the breakthrough really came in 2012 when I went to Nigeria.
Okay. And so what was that experience like going to Nigeria? Obviously a much bigger market, 200 plus million people. It's a very different place than any of the other countries that you mentioned. What was that experience like, and how did that get you to the next stage?
Well, I'm going to Nigeria. I got a partnership with the River State government.
Okay.
And again, the River State government, the government alone and everything about the state is as big as any of these other countries, or even bigger than the West African countries. Their GDP is probably as big as 2-3 countries put together.
Sure.
So you're dealing with a country. And there was a demand at the time. And one good thing about going to Nigeria was that it's English speaking. There was a demand and, so many other advantages. There were challenges in terms of security, but I will quickly say that for a good entrepreneur, it's one who identifies challenges and turn them into opportunities.
Absolutely.
So it worked for me. So I adjusted very fast, like what I do typically when I go to any country. I mean, based on my experience, I look at what the challenges are and I just try to address them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I hear 3 main themes here. 1, networking was huge.
Mm-hmm.
2, apprenticeship, right? Working for others so you can learn the industry. And then 3, looking for what people might think are challenges and turn them into opportunities.
Yeah.
And so as you expanded in Nigeria and beyond that, how did you end up here in Sierra Leone?
In Sierra Leone, this was my first time coming here. I was asked to come, through my network. And look, I think Sierra Leone is ripe for what you're doing in the Gambia. So during the days of President Tijan Kawa, I came, but I don't think the environment was right for me to come.
Sure.
So fast track in 2017, I think, the first lady reached out to me, who I knew before she was a first lady, that her husband, is now the president, and would you not want to come and, do your business here?
Right.
So it took me time to come because based on my, bad experience I had when I came here. So finally, the ambassador at the time in the Gambia, who was the High Commissioner, came on the instruction of the president.
Sure.
That he wanted me here.
Okay.
Before then, I met the president whilst he was in Gambia.
Okay.
So from then, I thought, okay, fine, there's no harm just making a try. Let me just go and see the place. Even if for nothing, it's just for tourism. Let me go and visit.
Okay.
But when I came, I must say this, I was so impressed with the reception. I decided there and then that I must invest.
Nice. Now, how did you choose the area that we're in, the Jambo Bay area?
Well, as I said earlier, we are onto a public-private partnership. So the government's responsibility is to provide the land.
Okay.
So they had the land, they identified the land. And the main condition is that government brings the land unencumbered.
Right.
Because land anywhere in Africa, if you go, you will have, issues with it. But once you have the government taking up that responsibility, that as a developer, I will not have issues. So to answer your question, they identified the land and provided all the necessary papers for us to move.
Understood. Okay. And so now I want to get more into TAF Global as a business, and then we'll drill down into Sierra Leone. You mentioned public-private partnerships, and that's what you do in every country. When you started TAF Global, did you think that you were going to be in multiple countries? And how many countries are you actually in?
We are registered in 9 African countries, but we're very active on the ground in 3 of them, which is Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Gambia. Your question, yes. When I first started Africa Global, actually it was called TAF Construction Company. But again, as any young man, any young person about the F-33, my focus was really on within my locality, within my own country.
Sure.
But as I network, as I travel, then at a very early stage, I realized that, look, the market is outside.
Sure.
And then I started making the moves on, doing business outside the Gambia.
Absolutely. Okay, so now to TAF Salone Micro-City. Why the term micro-city?
Because, Africa Global has a big vision to develop 1 million affordable homes across the continent of Africa, mainly sub-Saharan Africa. And we have already started cities in the Gambia. And in the Gambia, we're building 5,000, but the land space is on 500 hectares. So this one here, this specific one in John Obey, it will be one out of many to build the 5,000. So because of its size of about 200 acres, which is about 80 hectares as opposed to 500 hectares, so then that is why it's called micro.
Sure.
But design is more or less the same. It's just shrunken, but the same facilities that exist in TAF City in the Gambia also exist here.
Can we talk about some of those facilities? What's on ground?
Yeah, the facilities we have, first, what we have done for our housing design is one cap fits all.
Okay.
We have now zeroed out our designs that the same houses that you have in the Gambia are the ones you have in Sierra Leone, and those are the ones that you will also have in Nigeria or anywhere we go.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I have developed this is that, look, everything that most of the things that we buy, for example, let's take a simple example of a car.
Right.
When you buy a Toyota Corolla, the same Toyota Corolla that is manufactured in Japan is the one that is bought everywhere in Africa or everywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
So now we've looked at our design, made a very good study, understanding our clients, what their needs. So we've have a single design for each of the ones that we've adopted, basically 5 of them. We localize the names when we come into a country.
Okay.
And so that's why, for example, here, a Saleh is called a Majula in the Gambia.
Okay.
Or it's called a charity in Nigeria. But everything is the same because it's the same people.
Sure.
So that's what we have done, and design is the same. Prices, they differ from one to the other based on the cost of doing business in every specific country.
Okay, that's fair. I know that every country has a different GDP, different average income. So it makes sense, obviously, that the pricing would be different depending on the country. So you mentioned that the names are localized. What are the different names that we have here in Sierra Leone, and what does that mean, each type of house?
First, to start with, since we came with the designs, we always want to engage the public. And as you know, we're big on social media. So the first thing we did was to ask Sierra Leoneans what names do they prefer to use. And we asked them to send in 5 different ladies' names. All my names are named after, all the houses are named after ladies. So, and then we now did an analysis of the majority that came in. And the most that came in were Fatima, was number 1.
Of course.
And then number 2 was Binti.
Okay.
Number 3 was Sierra. Number 4 was Hawa. And then number 5 was Saleh.
Okay.
So then we started from the bottom. The most affordable house, the Saleh, is 49 square meters. Then the next one is the Hawa, which is 73 square meters. And the third is the Sierra, which is 90 square meters. Then the Binti, which is 165, is the fourth. And then the last one, which is the biggest of them all, which is the Fatima, it's about 200 and something square meters.
Got it. And then in terms of the number of bedrooms, does it start with a 1-bedroom, go up to a 2-3-bedroom, or how does the number of bedrooms operate for the different houses?
It starts from 2 bedrooms. Okay. We don't do 1 bedrooms. We start from 2 bedroom, then we have a 3, and then it's only the Fatima that is 4 bedroom.
Okay.
Because again, remember, we are into affordability.
Sure.
And we call our product is affordable luxury.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that and we'll do a tour after this so you guys can get a chance to see what the houses look like. And so on that note, who is the target market for specifically TAF Micro-City Salone?
Well, for those who can afford it.
Okay.
When you go out in the market buying any product, you price your product based on cost plus margin.
Sure, of course.
Yes. In business, yes, I try to identify your target market, so you can target them. Where your market is in terms of marketing, you can target them. But when we do our development, it's for everybody. We don't segregate who should buy or not. And that only apply in housing. It applies to anything. The glasses that you're wearing.
Sure.
It is manufactured, done, and on a shelf, and whoever can afford it, you can buy it. And then let me just elaborate further, because sometimes people will come to us and say, oh, no, your houses are not affordable. Affordable is on what you can afford. So if you think you can afford it, you have to make more efforts. If you're working for 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day making a living, and your earnings doesn't afford you to buy something, it's up to you to make sure you put in extra efforts to earn more to be able to afford that. It is not my fault to put a price on a unit, because as I said, my price is a cost which I cannot do anything about, plus my margin. I have to survive in business.
Yeah.
So that I cannot bring down. So now our target market after our studies for Sierra Leone are Sierra Leoneans who are living here and also in the diaspora. Reason being that we all know that Sierra Leone about 20 years ago or so went through an unfortunate event of a civil war, and there were quite a number of Sierra Leoneans who left this country and are settled down now outside of Sierra Leone.
Right.
They have reached a stage where they want to come back home. They want to connect back to their own original country. Sure. So we target them and we try to make it easy. We try to make a soft landing for them. We have also realized that there are people of African origin who are settled in other continents who are now finding their roots into Africa.
Yep.
So for me, being Gambian, coming to Sierra Leone, I think Sierra Leone tick all the boxes for returnees.
Absolutely.
Whether you are a diasporan who were originally born from here or your ancestors were taken away and you are coming back here, believe me, Sierra Leone ticks all the boxes. And I have the reasons. If you want me to go further,
yes,
I can explain why Sierra Leone.
Yes, I was just going to ask you that. I mean, you mentioned it ticks all the boxes, and we were talking earlier, and you were mentioning you have a residence here and that you'll be moving here full time. I'd love to hear from you the boxes that Sierra Leone ticks, coming from a country, by the way, that does a really good job of bringing in tourists, right? So many tourists from Europe and all over other parts of West Africa go to the Gambia. So I'd like to hear from you, your thoughts about Sierra Leone and what boxes that it ticks for sure.
Okay, first, let's start with tourism that Gambia is known for.
Sure.
And in business in general and in life, first movers are always the winners.
Yep.
Because what happens when you go into anything new, you have people who will come with different opinions. Some of them are a bit negative towards things that they see, and they only see the challenges.
Yes.
And when they see the challenges, for them, it's a no-go area. It's a non-starter. But as a good entrepreneur, when I see challenges, I know, wow, there are opportunities, underlying opportunities in there. Now, it's up to me to turn those opportunities into challenges. So when I came here, first, coming from the Gambia is flat.
Yep.
Gambia is flat. It's the same beach that you have in the Gambia that you have here, because it's the same coastline, the West African coastline that stretches from Mauritania all the way to Lagos.
Right.
So you'll find the same type of sand in different countries. But what we have here in Sierra Leone that is not in the Gambia is the landscape, the mountains, the greenery. The landscape is fantastic. Weather is beautiful. I mean, it rains about 6 months of the year. So 6 months of the year, the weather is lovely. So that's one. And number two is an untapped market.
Mm-hmm.
English speaking. You come in here, everybody speaks English. And I think also the people are very hospitable. So I think it's an untapped market for me. So as an entrepreneur, when I come in here, like what you have seen, initially, most people that I spoke to were very skeptical about doing this sort of project in here.
Right.
But now it's a totally different ball game. People see it and then they come here and they cannot believe it. They go, wow,
right.
We never thought this would happen.
Right.
And again, for anybody considering coming to Sierra Leone, that's my advice.
Okay.
And that forget about the naysayers. People are still here. I was here about almost 2 years ago when there was an abortive coup d'etat. Yes. And you know what I did? It happened, guns were being fired, yes, at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Somebody called me and said, where are you? I said, well, I'm at home. And then I heard the gunshot. I said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to sleep.
Right.
When you wake up, something is going to be fixed somehow.
Right, absolutely.
And a very good example at a global level, one challenge is COVID. When COVID hit the world, it wasn't only in Africa. Whoever thought that all the aircrafts will be grounded.
Right.
And actually, most of the debts that we have were in the advanced world. It wasn't in Africa.
True. Very true.
So really, I mean, challenges come in the world. Risk is everywhere. Everything depends on how big your heart is to take the risk. And for me, the risk I take here is in Africa because this is where the big opportunities are.
100%. I agree. And to that point about the attempted coup, I think it's interesting because I was also in country at that time. And I got a lot of calls and people asking me what I was going to do. I grew up in the Bronx, New York. We heard gunshots like that every day. That was a one-time occurrence here. In New York, it happens every day, but people are always concerned about when it happens here, as opposed to how it happens all the time there. So I thought that was interesting that people were so concerned when it was one issue that happened, you know, kind of in a vacuum, whereas it happens daily all over the United States. So on the point that you just made about the opportunity here, you know, you guys obviously have multiple acres here. I think you said 200 acres, right?
Yes.
How many houses have you built so far, and what's the goal for the number of houses at this property here?
We think that we're going to build about between 1,200 and 1,000 units here.
Okay.
A reason being that we try to introduce some multi-story apartments, but we don't think the market is ready for it.
Sure.
If we succeed in doing the multi-story apartments, we'll have about 1,200 units.
Okay.
If we don't, and we do all in bungalows and duplexes, roughly about 1,000. And now what we've done is we've divided this development into phases, 4 different phases. So in the first phase, there are about 300 and something units.
Okay.
And then it goes now the second, the third, fourth, and then the commercial area.
Sure.
Now, in the first phase so far, over 100 units have been sold. And our target is that by December 2025, our first houses will be delivered to the clients.
Okay.
That was what was agreed with them. It might go more because we are seeing now that sales are happening because there were a lot of people who were sitting on the border.
Sure.
Thinking,
Sure.
oh, no, this will not happen. And again, we were unfortunate that there were some people who came who promised to do the same thing as we were doing, and people lost money.
Right.
So they thought this is another scam that's coming up. But now, given our brand, I mean, you know, I tell people that all you need to do is just talk to my uncle with a button. You know, I'm sure you know my uncle.
Yes.
You know my uncle?
Well, he was in one of the videos here, right?
No, Uncle Google.
Uncle Google.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. Everybody
Uncle
have
Google?
access to my uncle.
Uncle Google.
Or Auntie YouTube.
Auntie YouTube.
Yeah. So once you key a button there, they tell you who I am.
Right.
If
right.
you put my name down on any keyboard, Mustapha Njie TAF,
Yep.
the rest you ought to do it. You will know whether this is for real or not.
Yeah, and people aren't buying sight unseen here. Like in other places, I've seen people working on structures such as this in other countries, and most people are doing it based on the hope that something will be built, and they're taking a huge risk. Here, you have houses that you can walk into, you can see the quality of the work, the craftsmanship, and you're buying something that's already been constructed. With that, I mean, I can tell you're passionate about even helping other entrepreneurs. You've given a lot of insight so far. If somebody was planning to start a business here in West Africa, specifically Sierra Leone, what advice would you give to that person?
Do your research. We're living in a virtual world now.
Sure.
I just walked out of a meeting and somebody asked me where I am based. Yeah. And I said, I'm cloud-based.
Cloud-based.
I mean, look, none of us need now, if you look at your complimentary cards, nobody puts an address there anymore.
Right.
What do you put in? Your email and your WhatsApp number. And nowadays, even when you are at 33,000 feet in the air, you can be communicating. There's Wi-Fi on board.
Yep.
So that's the first thing you need to do. Make sure you utilize the internet very well. Do your research. Anybody that's approached you, anybody you want to deal with, go down on the internet, type his name. If he is somebody, he must pop up.
Sure.
And then do your own due diligence.
Okay, that's fair. And the challenges, that's something that comes up a lot, is what are some of the challenges that you find here in Sierra Leone that might be, I don't know if they're unique to Sierra Leone. Maybe you might have some views on that since you're building major projects in 3 different countries. What are your thoughts on the challenges that are maybe West Africa in general, and then maybe what might be unique to Sierra Leone?
You see, Africa is made up of 54 countries.
Sure.
And every country is different. If you cross the border now from Sierra Leone to Guinea, French.
Yep.
It's different. It's not one country. Now, every country is different. It's unique of its own challenges and its own opportunities. Take, for example, in the Gambia, let's look at the land. Now you can hear how the compressors are working, breaking for the foundations and the excavators and so on. In the Gambia, you dig everything with a shovel because the ground is soft.
Right.
So if I were to ask a contractor to do a foundation, it might take him less than a day to dig all the trenches. Here it will take you a week or more breaking the rocks. So it's not the same. Now, water, access to water. In the Gambia, in the areas that we build, the aquifer is so high that within 2 meters, you have good water.
Sure.
Here, you have to go down hundreds of meters to be able to get water.
Sure.
But for example, access to lumber, to timber. Gambia, we don't have any. We don't have a forest.
Okay.
But here you have it. The aggregates that you use. In the Gambia, we don't have granite. Here, the granite we don't buy outside. We quarry it on site.
Right.
So every country is different. So, but again, as an entrepreneur, it's up to you on how you package it to make it marketable.
Okay. And then the flip side of that, what has been some of the more rewarding elements of running a business here?
Well, here it's small a size. Like, for example, we market a lot on social media. And I can tell you, even before we started business, everybody knows who TAF is.
Yeah.
It's a very small country, and small is nice. And I think people are very hospitable too.
Sure.
They're very welcoming. In terms of safety, if I look across Africa, it's a safe place.
Yes.
In Nigeria, I work with 2 bodyguards with knickers all the time.
Okay.
24 hours a day. But it doesn't happen here. So that's an advantage. And also, I think the public servants are accessible.
Sure.
They're accessible, they're educated. Sierra Leone has got a long history of, putting value on education. Like, for example, Fatima College. Yes. Gambians used to come here to do their tertiary education.
Sure.
So big advantage, people are educated. Labor is available. Like most of the work we are doing here is labor that we find on site from John Obe and neighboring communities.
Okay.
Those are all the advantages. The government is ready to listen. For example, we have concessions on the things that we are doing because they need people like us. So there's quite a lot of advantages. There are disadvantages. For example, their value-added tax compared to Nigeria is high. Sure. It's 15%, just the same as Gambia. So my prices in Nigeria are cheaper because the VAT in Nigeria is 7.5%. But in Sierra Leone, it's 15%, so it's double.
Yep.
So everything that we sell in terms of taxes is double for our houses. They start as affordable as $56,000. Sure. And then it goes up to about $218,000 or so.
Okay. And I have to be very clear on that, on the low end pricing. As someone who has been building independently of something like this, that is cheaper than what it costs to build on your own. And you're stepping in because for us, you have to pay for a number of different things. Like if you're building outside of a situation like this, you have to pay for like a lawyer, there's all kinds of things that you have to pay for and have to deal with. This removes all the headaches and the pricing is actually cheaper. You said what size is the smaller size house again?
The smaller size is about 49 square meters, 7 west. But can I just come into there and I want to educate my listeners.
Sure.
And most of the people who wants to come into environments like this to build, don't listen to people. There are outsiders who will always tell you that it's too expensive and you can take another route to build cheaper. Those that are telling you locally, they have another hidden interest that you don't know. And that is that, money comes through them. And most people who do that will end up regretting it because there are hidden costs that they will not tell you.
Yep.
Here you are buying into a brand.
Yes.
You are assured that this brand is 35 years old, has done it over and over again, and you can get your papers without even coming into Sierra Leone. Now, some of the headaches that you will have, one, the land that you are buying, you're not too sure that you'll get the papers or owned by somebody else.
Right.
And then you're dealing with local contractors. You are never guaranteed of quality. Things can change. You can even lose all your money. And then a third, and amongst most, it's also, again, emphasizing the brand.
Yeah.
That we have a brand to protect. What we sell you, that's what you get.
Right.
But different from local contractors or when people come and give you something different, most of the time, the majority of them, not only in Sierra Leone, you will end up losing your money. You will end up regretting it.
Absolutely. I'm on my 4th contractor.
So you can talk about that.
Yeah, I talk about it all the time. You guys who watch, So yeah, I think and this is the thing that I always talk to people about. If you want to eliminate the headaches, just come to someone who's already done the work, right? And you've done it in 3 countries and these houses are pre-built, so you can come here and actually look at them. And I love the idea that you can also get your papers without even stepping foot in country.
Yeah, and we also give you warranties.
Okay.
Our houses, you have a defect liability warranty. So a whole year, if anything is defective, we change it. And then we give you a structural guarantee for 5 years. So if your roof is leaking, is not fixed properly, we change it. If there's a crack in the wall, we come and fix it. And that is guaranteed. And remember, we are a top global company. We're not only an African company. Actually, TAF Global is registered in Dubai. So even if we think we dupe you here, you can sue us in Dubai at an international level.
Absolutely. Excellent. These are all great things. There's a couple of documents here that I was looking at. So you guys are on the 35th anniversary, correct?
Yes. We started in 1990 January. That's when Africa Global was registered under the name of TAF Construction. And now it's 35 years since then, plus.
Wow, 35 years. I was 5.
Yes.
6 when you guys opened up business. So I was looking here and I see all the different floor plans and the different names. Okay, so it says live, work, and play. So I want to talk about beyond just the residential housing. I would love to talk about the commercial elements and businesses that you plan to have here. So I noticed that there's shops, markets, petrol station, all of that. Can we talk through all the different commercial businesses that'll be on site beyond just the residential houses?
Yeah, look, this is like what you will call in the US. What's the name for it? It's you have a community. So a reason being, for us strategically, from a business point of view, we always make sure that we are outside of the city.
Sure.
Because you cannot have this size of land in the city. So you drive out of the city. But the nice thing about the Peninsula Road, it's asphalted. It's all tarmacked. So you drive on a smooth road. And in terms of timing, from the center of Freetown to here is about 45 minutes. So 45 minutes drive, you are here. And once you are here, the reason why it's a leave, walk, and play, we try to avoid as much as possible for people to have to shuttle to Freetown and back.
Right.
So you live here, number one. You work here. We try to get business around here. And you play. Even schooling. We have elementary school here and a secondary school.
Nice.
Then we have a petrol station, worship, places of worship. We have a mosque, we have a church. We have other commercial offices. So we try to invite other businesses to come here. For example, the cell phone businesses that do fintech and all this stuff now, they'll have an office here. So if you want to recharge, you will have it here.
Nice.
If you want to go to a mini market, it is here. But not only that, what we have also done is we're looking at the locality around here because we're just opposite John Obey Beach.
Right.
And there are resorts there. So if you go to my YouTube, which is Mustapha Njie TAF, I have featured, the facilities that are around the Njie area.
Right.
So on a Sunday, if you want to go down, you can go down to a resort that is very close by and, chill out there. So you're not only buying into this development here, but you are buying within the locality, which is going to grow. We are the beginners, we are the anchor. And that happens all the time. Where we go, then come back years later. In the next 5 years, if you come here, one, prices will skyrocket.
Right.
That's number one. And number two, it's a planned development. You have a lot of people who are living here and people who are more or less in the same level as you, who are understanding in the same neighborhood that you would know.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered a lot. I did want to ask you just about where can people find TAF Global and then also TAF Salone?
Well, TAF Salone, a website, as I said, we all go virtual these days, the World Wide Web, and it's tafsalone.com. That's the website. It's very easy. Always never forget TAF and then salone.com. So if you go in there, you can contact us. For TAF Africa Global, it's again tafafricaglobal.com. Otherwise, just Google us up. If you Google up those names, it will lead you to our contacts.
Yes, absolutely. So if you Google it, if they've done a really good job, the whole first page, anything TAF, anything, they'll all come up. So we have the location. Any last words, any pieces of advice that you want to give before we close this out?
Well, my advice will be now in 3 segments, targeting 3 different groups. First, the locals, those who are living here, that we don't discriminate on our houses. We want to find a way of making this housing affordable to all. Not everybody can be housed. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world.
Right.
But the challenges of accessing housing is more on mortgages. Here, mortgages don't exist. We're trying to work with the banks so that they can extend mortgages to our clients. We are developers. We build and we sell off and we move on. But we're trying to work with the banks. Interest rates are very high and that makes it unaffordable. But some banks are working on it. And if they have the money that they can put into here, then locals probably they will have an opportunity to buy. Second, the Sierra Leoneans who are living abroad, looking to come back home. Contact us. We have the answers. We have a proven track record. Most of you have heard us before. So if you contact us, we will find a way of removing that headache of trying to buy a home or build a home here. third, the people of African origin, who are now finding their way back home. This is home for them. So here we have the answers. Again, talk to my uncle or my auntie. You will find all the answers and the questions there. Send us a WhatsApp or an email. Email is simple, TAF Africa Global or TAF Salone, and then we'll deliver your house to you headache-free.
I love that. I want to thank you again for taking the time. Happened to work out that you were in country and you were around when I got here, so I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you. And I want to thank you guys for watching. If you found this interesting, hit that thumbs up. Share this with anybody you know who's planning to move, visit, and eventually relocate to Sierra Leone. All right, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, like, comment, and share it with your friends. All right, see you on the next video.